Hello everybody and welcome to the third and final race for this, the race weekend here for the BRS Carrera Cup at Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. Scott Woodwiss along with, if I can get the names back on screen for a second, bear with me, with Marcus Naris, Carl Young and Rachel Whiteford taking it through the final 15 laps of what's been a rather fast but very frantic two races here at Brands Hatch. The second race not as frantic as the first, but still plenty of action, which saw even a last lap change for the lead when Egil Sandfeld courteously let Palumbo through into the lead to allow GT Italia to take the victory after there was a collision between Egil Sandfeld and Luigi Nespolino up at Druid's hairpin. But guys, let's just have a quick analysis of that second race before we head into race 3, the final race of the evening. Of course, again, lots of action going on, but driving standards were better than the first race. Not fantastic, but there were still improvements. But I think what's probably going to burn everyone's lips is the fact that there are quite a few drivers out there that have qualified, but only seem to be skilled in setting a single lap pace rather than being able to deal with a race situation. And it's because of that that's causing all the problems, I think.
I think you're right, Scott, and there's something I'll always say, and it's one of the things people will hear me say ad nauseum, is that there's a difference between a fast driver and a fast racing driver, and you get a lot of these guys who can put these cars around with a very loose setup around this track very quickly, but when it comes to racing and getting very close to the other competitors, that loose setup that's getting the fast lap times is biting them.
What was interesting in that first race and the second race was that the major incidents are in the first couple of laps. So, as Rachel said there, that I know it sounds a bit silly and a bit counterintuitive, certainly in a very short race like this, but you almost need to take an endurance racing point of view. Just settle in, take those first couple of laps to get your tyres up to temperature, to see where you are, get an idea of the pace of the guys around you before you start to, really put the pressure on. We saw Egil do a fantastic job of that in that race. He really started to apply the pressure after about lap 5, and he's managed to avoid, for the most part, incidents in getting his way to the front.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Even though these guys don't really have a lot of time to make the moves that they need to move out through the field, you kind of got to think, at least with some sort of a calm head, with all these cars around you, with all the cars around you and with the very short amount of time that you have, you want to make the moves, but you don't want to risk anything and hurt anybody in the process. It's just a matter of keeping a calm head and making the moves that are necessary when they are really necessary, and trying to figure things out early in the race to be there in the end. You must first finish in order to finish first. So, for some of these guys who have been involved in some of these incidents in both races, maybe they'll look back and see where they did wrong and try to be able to finish this third one and at least get some sort of a decent points finish here to wrap up the night and head on to the next one.
Well, of course, some great points there for all three of you guys. They're very valid points indeed as well. Of course, we may as well take a quick look at the grid. It's going to be Adam Pahl and Tero Dahlberg who are starting on the front row of the grid. Adam Pahl, of course, as we're starting on pole, as we once again reverse the top 10 from race 2. So looking at the results from that, as we can give a quick breakdown of how that's going to look, we'll see that it's going to be Dahlberg alongside on the front with Adam Pahl on pole. Then it will be Angelo Di Mella in third and Simon Field on row 2. Row 3 we'll see Robert DeRoy, the man who started on pole in race 2, and JB Wilson alongside him, and he'll be starting in 6th. 7th and 8th will be Ricardo Schiavone and Nick Tyson, and Egil Sandfeld and Ermanno Palumbo, the man who won race 2 on that last lap pass when he was gifted it by Egil Sandfeld. into Druids will start in 10th. Of course, guys, we're going to have to watch out for who are going to be down the field thanks to various incidents. Les Bellino will start 12th after he was leading for so long. Also, looking down the field, we're going to have Anders Dahl out of position in 24th. Ben Tusting, who was charging hard on the final laps after his incident, in 27th. And Diego Comuni is going to be back down in 34th. So, guys, we're going to have these very fast drivers, as we did with race 2, especially with Comuni, back down the field, and again having to deal with that traffic. And traffic's been the kind of the word and the topic of the day, because, as we said, short track, a lot of cars on there are taking part, some 30 odd cars on the field. In fact, there's 33 practicing and setting times right now. So it really is just having that patience, and as you said, Marcus, having that endurance style kind of frame of mind, just holding back in the first couple of laps, letting each other sort itself out, getting the tyres up to temperature, and then using the 13 laps you have left to start making your way through the field. That's a strategy that these guys are going to have to realise, and it's pretty safe to say that these guys haven't worked that out after 2 full race distances. Then really, you have to question whether or not they're in the right league.
Yeah, it is a difficult one. I mean, it's easy for us to look at it very impassionately, but believe me, as a regular runner in the series, when you're in there and your blood's up, and especially in this third race where you're potentially battling with people who, you may feel have wronged you in previous races, it can be very difficult to take that dispassionate view and that logical view. But what you'll find is that, the guys that are strong in iRacing, we race a lot with people like Blake Townend and guys like that, and they can absolutely suck the emotion out of the situation. Just stop, think about what they need to do, and execute, get it done. In this race, though, I think there's two drivers to watch out for. I'm interested to see what Simon Field could do starting from 4th. He's had a really steady evening, and he's worked his way up through the fields in these races, and I think he's given himself a good shot at this last race. And I'm very excited to see what Ben Tusting can do from so far back.
So we'll get the thoughts of those two guys in a moment. Of course, we're getting ready for the start for the third and final race, I should say, here at Brands Hatch. Another 15 laps awaits us, another 1.2 miles. It's partially cloudy with 78 degrees Fahrenheit, a northerly wind of 2 miles an hour, 55% humidity in the air. Getting ready for the start, so revs will rise in just a few moments. Adrenaline's going to be pumping. Are we going to get our 8th different winner out of 9 races in this championship? We're still going to wait and see. Lights are out now, and we're away for the final race of the evening. And a great start looks like off the line from Adam Parl. He's going to lead him into turn 1, or is he? Because Talberg will try and come around the outside. Demella's going to hold on to 3rd, with Simon Field also attacking in 4th spot in the 0.26. As the field makes its way up towards Druids, please, can we get a clean run through here? I hope we do. As it looks as though they're getting through the first half of the field, looks like it's getting through relatively unscathed. Down towards Graham Hill Bend, I think they've just about managed it. So Parl leads it then in number 235, from Dahlberg 2nd, Demella 3rd, then Simon Field in 4th. And as they make their way through, I think it's Wilson up to, I think that might even be Jamie Wilson up in 4th. He's made up 2 spots already, I think, in the 87.
We've had an accident at the exit at Graham Hill Bend. Gary Toole has been turned around. We've lost Egil Sandfield as well, unfortunately, in that accident, and Darryl Taylor. They just came together as they funneled down there, so the 2 Epicuri Banana drivers, but of note, we've lost Egil Sandfield from Team Denmark. Still circulating, but a long way down.
And what's interesting is that Darren Wilson has done his fast toe, and he's immediately come back out, I think, or someone's out there who's at the back of it. I think it might be, is that Tian Damon or somebody? Somebody's out there in a lapped car, but he's immediately in front of the leaders, and I think it's Clyde Whiting, I think, in the 666.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too there, Sky. I'm wondering what happened to him, if he missed the start or something. But he's already getting taken down a lap here at the conclusion, lap number 2, just in front of these leaders. And this could be a bit dangerous, especially with it being this early on in the race. These guys are still really tightly packed up close together. So hopefully when the leaders do get to him, he just gets out of the way and doesn't cause any more harm to this field.
It's under brakes for Druids then, and Adam Parl holding on. I saw that Dahlberg tried to go around the outside of McLaren, but just got a little bit onto the grass on the exit of McLaren, and he's now back in 4th, challenging with Jamie Wilson trying to get back up the inside. Can't get it done. They're going to go 3 wide behind. That's the 79 of Robert DeRoy. Battling away with Simon Field and also Ricardo Skierbon. They're going to go 3 wide into Surtees. That's not going to work, boys. Steady on. And Field's come out on top of that one as DeRoy tries to go up the inside of it through clearways on Skierbon. He's made it work. He might bring Nick Tyson with him as well as they head onto the pit straight. Adam Parr still leading as they head down the pit straight. No, he's not. In fact, it's DeMella that's leading now. DeMella for Italia Racing. I missed that move. I apologise on that one. With Parr second, Wilson up to third and pressuring the duck egg blue, black and orange car through Druids. And then we've got Dahlberg in fourth with Simon Field in the Areca Matmut sponsored car in fifth place. And he's on the back of the treble 3 trying to make a move. And so Fast and Frantic in the top 10 guys so far in the opening couple of laps. But apart from an incident in the midfield, again, relatively clean. I think the cleanest start we've seen out of the 3 races this evening.
Yeah, we've got DeMella now. He's just making up his ground on Clyde Whiting. And he's coming up the inside of him, coming through Clark Curve into the start-finish straight. He's passed.
Yeah, I'm just looking back down the field. We've Craig Shelton has been turned around, just going up into clearways there. Looks like he was. I'm not sure who he got together with, but he's just been caught in the right rear quarter panel, and around he's gone again.
Quite surprised to see Gary Tull down there and lap down as well. There's been some really unlucky incidents on the first couple of laps here, guys.
Oh, we've had a spinner up at Kronenberg, and it's actually Tara Dahlberg's been turned around at Graham Hill. Bet he's lost a ton of places. He's rejoining behind the 29. That's with Patrick Longley. In fact, he's going to lose a place. He's down to 15 from what was 5. So 10 spots lost in the space of one incident. That's absolute disaster. But then Dahlberg's got a very loose car right up here at Clearways the past couple of laps. He has been drifting wide under braking, so possibly a couple of maybe the setup is not all well with that car. But looking back towards the front, I'm seeing that DeMella is now into pulling away now by 2 seconds in the GT Italia car, and Adam Parr is in second, but he's having to try and get around the treble 3, the lapped car as well, if he's going to cause any problems. As behind I can see that Wilson and Field are going at it for third place, and they've pulled away slightly from Robert DeRoy, who's leading
big
this train.
contact. Up in Druids, we have several cars round. Trying to find the numbers on this. Anyone see that?
And Communi's one of them. Comuni again with a third race. So he's had one race where he hasn't been involved in any kind of incident. It has literally been the weekend from hell for Diego Comuni for GT Italia.
Yeah, he's been in the wars throughout this race already. He was already carrying damage. I don't know if that affected it. I saw that he got together with Robert Teens up at Clearways a couple of laps ago, which caused Teens to spin. Community was able to continue, but I'm not sure if he picked up some damage that might have contributed to that.
I think I came across a separate incident from what you guys saw. Looking for that incident, I saw the number 10 machine of Dick McCarron get into the back and turn around Eagle Sandfield in the 89, heading just before the start-finish line straight here. Not quite sure what that was all about. Just looked like he either got in hot and just straight up took out the 89 car. So Eagle Sandfield running out of luck in this last race. He had some success in the first race, a little bit of success there in the second race, made a bit of a mistake and fixed that wrong, but now he's taken out again here twice in this third race, so a tough break for Eagle Sandfield.
It's not his day, is it?
And looking back near the front, we've got Adam Parr, who is in second place, but we have changed the third as Simon Field made the move on the exit of Clearways for third position on Jamie Wilson. What's intriguing though is that it took Adam Parr a couple of laps to try and get around the treble 6 of Clyde Whiting, who is still now in the pack of the leaders. He really has to be obeying he really isn't obeying those blue flags too much, because I'm not sure he feels that he's actually passed the way. In fact, he's moving over now because there's a huge what I'd call the flat 6 freight train coming past him, which is being led by, I think, if I look on my screen, it's being led by Robert DeRoy in 5th position in the 79. In fact, he's now being chased by Skierbon, Tyson, Palumbo's in there as well, and Ben Tusting as well, as they're kicking up the dust as they head through Paddock Hill Bend up towards Druids. And I thought for a second Skierbon was going to try and make a move, as once again Clyde Whiting moves out of the way and takes the wider run. Anders Dahl is up to an incredible 10th spot. He's charging, and someone's off in the back. Was that Palumbo?
It's Palumbo.
Nespolino's off again. The GT Italia cars just cannot get a break. They're constantly in the water in this evening's races.
In fairness, that one was a meal entirely of Luigi's own making. He's just on the outside line through Druids, and coming down the hill he's just giving it ever so slightly too much on the loud pedal, and downhill, slippery surface, around he goes. So he did that to himself that time.
Tusting certainly charging up the inside of Nick Tyson. He's up to 8th spot. What a drive from Nick, from Ben Tusting, really coming through the field and up in the top 10 already, showing his class. We're on lap 10. There's a car that's now on the infield. That's number 134 of Stanimir Zuzov. So he's gone around and rotated his rough C-Spec track machine. And look at this gag on the cars. This Super 6 coming down towards the run at Surtees. It's being headed, of course, by the Royal and Skierbon, Tyson, Tusting, Palumbo and Dahl all fighting it out for spots 5 down to 10, and they're only all separated by roughly around 1.4 seconds. So that's just how close these guys are getting through. There's a scrap going also still for 2nd, 3rd and 4th, as I think as that Skierbon making a move onto Roy, can't get it done, shuts the door, and now Tusting's now getting himself involved. He's up to 7th and may make a move. He's looking pretty racy, moving to the outside. But what an incredible drive from Tusting. He started back now, I think, in somewhere around 27th place, and in 10 laps has made up an incredible 20 places. He really is flying here.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, and with the exception of Angelo De Mello, who's taken off like a fat kid chasing an ice cream van. Ben Tusting's definitely the fastest car on the circuit, but I think De Mello now, if he's careful, he's got this one in the bag. He's got a 5-second lead now.
Palumbo's making up his ground again. He's 42 back to 9th place, and he's tussling with the 8th car, which is Nick Thiessen. Ben Tusting making another great drive. He's moved up to 2nd, guys. What are your bets on him taking it even higher?
He's looking pretty good. Guys, what do we think? Carl, got any thoughts on Tusting's fantastic run? He's up to 7th, just took 7th from Robert De Roy's got, but he did up past Robert De Roy into paddock, and already I was the back of Skierbon, so it looks like possibly could be troubling the guys in the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking interesting. Skierbon is certainly got a target paint on the back of that car, and
he's inside the GT Italia. And he's made it stick. He's passed the GT Italia car. Is that Riccardo Skierbon? He's past Skierbon. That's a brilliant move on the inside coming out of Clark.
Yeah, this is an unbelievable drive for Ben Tusting, starting way back in 27th place. He has just cracked the top 5, and looking at the time behind the leaders, he's within a 1/10 of a second, or within 1 second.
He's inside
the
field.
front of this pack is 2nd place right here.
He's moving so close. This is brilliant driving. Oh, Field's gone wide. Field's gone wide. Coming through Graham Hill Bend. And he's just passed Field for 4th place.
This is absolutely stellar stuff from Ben Tusting. It's probably one of the better drives I've seen for sim racing all year so far. As he heads around the exit of Chloe's McLaren, Phil Truss struggled to get the power down. But now the question is, we head on to the penultimate lap, how much more pace has Ben Tusting got to try and get himself onto the back of, potentially, Adam Palt for a spot on the podium? Now, he's getting pretty close through Paddock Hill Bend up towards Druids, and this is a drive reminiscent of something like Steve Soper. He was known for his fantastic drives through the field to come from near the back of the field up to a podium place. I think it was actually here at Brands Hatch in '92. He got dropped out. He started at the back of the field with a 10-second penalty and managed to pass pretty much grab 3rd at Stirling's on the last lap. So there's a chance here that Tusting could possibly recreate that and get himself onto the rostrum with a careful run. Onto the last lap they go.
He's inside him. He's coming on his inside. Coming through. I don't think he's going to make it, guys.
He's got to get around Adam here quickly if he's going to make a run for 2nd, because Jamie Wilson is starting to get away here on the last lap. It'll be a miracle if he can run him down.
He's inside.
Now he's got his hands full.
He's through him.
What
he's through.
God. Wow.
He's run wide though, deep on the exit.
He's recovered it.
A little bit of dust and Pal is back through, so I think 2nd is out of his grasp, but I think 3rd is definitely on the cards. That was close. That's the 09s around on the infield, and Tusting's running out of time here and opts to try and get past.
I think we might see something fairly agricultural coming into Clearways for the last time here, guys. He knows he's got the pace on Adam Pyle in front. He just needs to get the run out.
He's inside him. He's done
it.
There he goes. He's through.
There he goes.
Yeah. De Mello wins the race. He takes race 3. Wilson will get 2nd, and incredibly, from 27th on the grid, Ben Tusting grabs a podium spot. What an amazing drive from Ben Tusting in the 064. Palt loses out on the last lap and takes 4th. Then it's Field 5th. Skiervon 6th. Robert DeRoy gets 7th. Tyson Durney managed 8th with Palumbo 9th and Dars 10th. But just double check, that was 27th that Ben Tusting started from. Let me quickly have a look on my screen.
Well, he's
my event
confirmed in
results.
3rd place, and what a drive. I mean, there's some guys who can lead a race from pole position, but to come from so far back, regardless of what place it was, he was out of the top 10. To drive through the field like that was incredible. And he was attacking every single lap. He was always in the back of the car in front, and he made some mistakes, but he just kept at it, and that was dogged determination like not seen in a long time.
Yeah, I've seen Ben drive around this circuit at Brands in a historic Formula Ford car, and that's certainly paid off. That said, huge credit must go to Adam Parle, who was very, very helpful to him in that last corner. He knew what was coming, he saw it coming, and as soon as it happened, he made sure that there was no chance of any contact. So fantastic driving from both drivers there.
And I can confirm that it was 27th on the grid that Ben Tusting came from. So incredible. In 15 laps, Ben Tusting made up 24 places, taking that 3rd place on the final corner of the final lap. I mean, I know I've seen Ben in sim race before. He's raced across on another sim in a championship called Formula Sim Racing. In fact, I believe he did actually win the lower down, the 3 championships. He did actually win the lowest tier, which is the World Trophy. So he is a sim racing champion in some cases, of course. And as we said, he does race for real. So we know exactly the calibre of driver we're dealing with Ben Tusting here, and that was just simply... I've seen some brilliant drives of people coming up through the field, but to come from that far back, that was a true Steve Soper-esque run. In fact, you can see, he's saying in the chat, 27th to 3rd, he should be absolutely delighted with that. And guys, I think, to be fair, we're going to have to name a driver of the day. Of course, we've had 3 different winners here. We've now got 8 different winners in the championship, but I mean, surely... all credit to DeMello and Wilson for their victories today, and for their first and second today, and also for the wins that went to Palumbo and also to Sandfeld. But surely, I mean, for me, for that race alone, Ben Tusting gets driver of the day for me. What a sensational run from that far back through the field to come onto the podium. You can't, for me, you can't not hand it to him.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit of stick in text chat from a couple of the drivers that he snatched positions away from, calling him a little bit too aggressive. But for me, it was just the right amount of aggressive. He's come out of the race with a fantastic result. His car has, got nary a scratch on it. For me, that was, measured aggression, and he's done a fantastic job.
Absolutely, and whilst other drivers are maybe calling him a little too aggressive, I have to say that some racing drivers and true champions have that aggression in measure. He's raced a clean race, and I don't think there's been a single pass I've seen with him that's caused an accident. The guy has run clean races, but he's been aggressive, and you need that. I mean, the guy has champion written all over him.
He was aggressive, but he didn't take the wrong word and the wrong meaning of aggressive. He had to make the passes when he need to, but didn't really, get into anybody or cause any problems. Just took advantage of what he had, the situations around him, made the passes when he needed to make them, and just an unbelievable drive to make up 24 spots in 15 laps. That's just absolutely insane.
Shall we say dogged rather than aggressive?
Absolutely, he was just buckets of determination. Effective. The fact he's been able to come through the field, but that cleanly, just shows you the kind of quality of driver that he is to be able to make up that many spots. And of course, there was probably a little bit of luck involved with a couple of incidents down the field, but effectively, that's how it goes. Effectively, if you're able to judge what's going on in front of you accurately enough, then you'd be surprised just how much time you can make up through other people's misfortunes. And it was a wonderful run to see him get up there. I think surely Ben, if he can continue on in this championship and keep himself out of trouble in the races going forward, then definitely he's going to put himself into championship contention, which was absolutely incredible. I guess we can wrap up our three broadcast day. For anyone who has watched all 3, thank you very much. Before we go, Marcus, Kyle, Rachel, final thoughts. We've had 3 rather interesting races, but each race has been cleaner than the next, and some brilliant driving across the board, some fantastic moves, some questionable driving further down the field. But do you think this will probably make the series, maybe look at the shorter tracks like Brands Hatch Indy, and maybe look at some of the caliber of some of the drivers that were competing tonight, and possibly make them think again in terms of maybe set a few higher standards to make sure we don't have as many major instances as we've had on the first lap in all three races tonight.
Well, it's an interesting point. I mean, the first thing you're taught in the real world when you get your National B license, and the first thing I was taught was it's your primary responsibility is to make sure that your competitors, the guys around you, finish the race. It's not to make sure you finish the race, it's to make sure that they finish the race. Don't do anything stupid or aggressive. And I think what we've seen, certainly in the first race, was a little bit of a failure of presence of mind from some people. It's all very well taken off like a scalded cat, but you're more likely than not to cause a problem for yourself and others. So, to be honest, I don't think it will change very much, because it's always a little bit of a bun fight in this series. But hopefully some of the drivers will be a little more circumspect going forward and a little bit more respectful of one another.
Absolutely. The first race, I think, was people getting their eye in. It was a warm-up of sorts, and the number of incidents were, I think, people getting used to perhaps running on this size of track, this number of cars. A lot of people were saying that they were getting a lot of oversteer, and the fronts of the cars were just losing traction with the cold tyres. And with this car, it's got far too much power for the size of circuit. I think it was that experience that maybe measured and tempered the next two races. You were saying about ensuring that other cars around you can get to the end of the race. Just to touch back on Ben Tusting, he's the only guy that finished that last race with no incident points. The guys in the top 10, everybody else had incidents but him, and that just shows dedication to make sure the other cars will finish the race.
Yeah, it got off to a bit of a rough start here to start the night, but I think as the race went on and people kind of learned how to drive the car, learned how to drive around each other, and learned how to drive the car and the track, I should say. Things got better. Once you get some experience behind the wheel and feeling how things are going to be for the night, you can adjust accordingly. And these guys did that as the race went on. Should it, be kind of, should you take from what we learned here and try to, see what we can do to make it better? Maybe. It's still fairly early in the season. These guys are still getting used to racing around each other and learning how everybody else is going to race. So it could be a bit of that. It could be the track. I don't really think it's a safe justification to say that the track caused, since it's such a short track and such a narrow track with a lot of people. I don't think it's a good justification to say that the venue is a bad place. I think it's just people just trying to get used to things, and we have a very widespread amount of talent amongst the entire field. So some people are going to pick up on the track and how to drive the car within a few minutes. Others, it takes a whole night of racing to figure things out. But hopefully, as the season progresses and as these guys learn how to drive around each other at different venues and such, they learn who they're racing around and how they kind of how they drive, so that way they can improve to make these races more exciting and more entertaining than they have been.
I think the thing with tonight has been that this has been a technical track with an unforgiving car. It's like taking a math test on a unicycle. One of the two is going to go wrong.
Well, it certainly has been entertaining. That has been the word for all three races, and it's been an absolute pleasure to commentate on all three of them. Carl, Marcus, Rachel, it's been an absolute pleasure. You've all been brilliant. Thank you very much for joining me in the commentary box. If you guys want to see any racing on BSR TV, if you missed any part of the three races, then be sure to subscribe to BSR TV's YouTube channel, because all the races are available back in full, including this broadcast as well, and also any you may have missed for the previous events at Silverstone and Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Tomorrow there's no BTCC, they get a week off, so in fact we're going to have a tournament tomorrow at Alton Park, which we're going to be showing, I believe, on broadcast tomorrow, so be sure to tune in for that one. But until then, what's been a fantastic race. We've added 3 more race winners to our tally. That means 8 different race winners in the 9 races that we've had in the championship. And of course, we've had some fantastic drives, including that one we're all raving about, Ben Tusting making up 24 places in 15 laps in the last race. He gets driver of the day today. And with that, from myself, Scott, Rachel, Marcus, Carl, and Steve, who's been on broadcast cameras for you, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you next week for rounds 10, 11 and 12 of the 2014 BSR Carrera Cup. But until then, bye for now.